What's going on, everyone? This is Jay from Premier Gaming Entertainment, and I'm ready to bring you another video for this week. This is week 3 versus SMU, and I'm going to be giving you my predictions for this week. First of all, last week was a great week for Michigan as far as the score, the offense, everything like that. I know I was nervous before the video when I made it, and definitely nervous before the game, but a lot of issues not necessarily worked out, but a lot of issues that I had with Michigan from week 1 were at least somewhat worked out in week 2. So what's going to be interesting is whether or not this is going to carry over into week 3. SMU, from what I've heard and what I've read, is not going to be an opponent that's going to really stand up to the Michigan offense. So I don't feel as though this is even going to be a good test for this week. From what I see, the defense doesn't stop anybody, and the offense isn't really doing much as far as putting up stats themselves. So I'm looking at this being a very simple week for us, and I see the score being similar to the score last week against Western Michigan. What's going to be interesting is to see for this week whether or not the offensive line will show any signs of improvement, or if they're going to be just okay. They definitely did a better job in the running game, but overall they're still kind of so-so, and when you're playing against mediocre talent, it doesn't really show that they're being tested. So interested to see whether or not they can open up the holes again for the Michigan running backs. Cron Higdon had a huge game last game. Chris Evans had a very decent game. So it's interesting to see whether or not the running game is going to be as good as it was last week. And more interesting or not is I'm interested to see whether or not we're going to keep up the trend, not only for the wide receivers, but see whether or not Shea Patterson is going to have another great game. So those are my few things that I'm really, really interested to see for this game. On the defensive end, like I said, SMU's offense doesn't seem very formidable, so I'm interested to see whether or not the defense can hold up, stop the passing game, which doesn't seem very explosive, and stop the running game, which seems kind of okay, and just be an overall smothering defense, hold them to maybe under 10 points, under 250 yards of total offense. And more than anything else, I'm interested to see whether or not the defensive line has any push this week. I know from last week I made mention of that, and a couple people made mention of a couple of the starters being injured on the defensive line from the interior, which is true. But even though that is true, they should still be, against a team like Western Michigan, they still should be dominating, and they weren't getting much of a push. So interested to see whether or not that is something that they've worked on for this week in practice, and whether or not they can start getting more pressure on the quarterback. With the secondary, which is really it's improving, and it's one of the best, I think, in the country, but I'm still concerned about the safety situation. Brad Hawkins seems, other than that one play that he should have made an interception versus Notre Dame, he seems like he's playing well back there, and he might eventually unseat one of the two starters. I've never been impressed with either Metellus or Cannell, so to me that's the only real weakness in the secondary, other than Watson. I still don't understand why he comes in on some plays. It seems like whenever Michigan gets beat deep, it's because it's either one of the safeties or it's Watson on coverage. So those are the key things that I'm interested in seeing. Like I said, I predict the score to be somewhere around similar to the score last week against Western Michigan. And I just, obviously this week I'm not as nervous as I was last week. It was a huge turnaround as far as everything on both sides of the ball. I'm just interested to see whether or not they're going to keep this up. It is a home game, so I expect them to play better than they did in week 1. But like I said, I just hope and pray that they play much better than week 1 and they continue what they did in week 2. So anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, definitely feel free to leave a like on the video. Please share this video with as many people as possible. Let me know how you feel in the comment section below. You feel like this is just going to be a cupcake game for Michigan this week? If they play really well, does it matter? Does it mean anything? Or is it almost like just playing a practice game? Let me know how you feel in the comment section below. And if you like my content, definitely subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps me out. Anyways, thank you for watching the video, and go blue.